Welcome to another podcast, everyone. I slept like a baby last night in a baby bed.
I'm glad you did.
Whose bed was that?
That was my that was my great grandmother's bed. Then it was my grandmother's, then my mother's, then my daughter's, and then I used it for a while, and that's the bed that Summer was born in.
Yeah, it looked like Summer's room. It was just decked out with stuffed animals.
Yeah, you were in Summer's room. I just want to tell the whole history of the bed that you were sleeping in, just in case you wanted to know. But that was her great-great-grandmother's bed that she was born in.
Wow, and I got to sleep in that bed.
Special.
I slept like a baby.
Not the mattress, though. The mattress is new.
Oh, okay. Oh, the frame. I see. My hands are jacked. You know, my hands never get this messed up from making sauerkraut, but we just shot a video for Bexlife.com.
You were kneading for a while.
I was doing a lot of work on there.
Yeah.
We just shot a video promoting the fermentation book. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Fermentation book. I'm very proud of that book.
It's beautiful.
It's like, it's the first complete piece I've ever written that's not been a pamphlet or something for clients and stuff.
Good
very
job.
proud of that book.
Took you a long time.
That's because of personal life stuff, and life got in the way. I had friends that were sick. Somebody in my life passed away, and then I'm moving, so it was like a lot of stuff.
I don't know what personal life stuff is like at all. I don't know what that's like.
You don't know? No. Because everything is magic here.
I also don't know what it's like to ever be late for anything.
Oh.
I'm always on time. I'm just ribbing you. Now they're going to get mad. Now I'm going to get all these hateful comments like, somebody died, and you're telling him that he took too long on his ebook.
Nobody leaves hateful comments on the podcast.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
It's your crew.
It's my
your crew over there. What are we doing today?
I have a couple questions.
Okay.
Of course, I always come with questions for my guests, and these are good ones. I only have a couple today, so we're going to have a lot of opportunity to riff a lot on this podcast. So hopefully if people are watching on my channel, then they're going to go and look at yours as well. Mm-hmm. And then they're going to get the whole story. The first question I have for us today is, why can't I poop? So after they have exhausted all of the things that they have Googled, why are they still not pooping? What are some constipation cures and methods for better pooping? And I have something so exciting to share that I'm going to bring out.
Do you want to start with that?
I think I want to. Can my trusty cameraman please bring in the product I am so excited about? First, I want to talk about quickly how the universe really does conspire to make your dreams come true. So if you speak something, even privately, things
I know
get
what
done.
this is.
I texted you. I'm so excited. Oh, thank you. I texted you the words Squatty Potty. It was just a text, right?
Yeah, why did you text me that?
I don't know.
It wasn't in relation to this.
It wasn't. Well, no, it was about the Squatty Potty.
Oh, okay. I thought that you just made it up.
No.
Okay.
So I texted Squatty Potty to you, and not even 72 hours later, I get followed by Squatty Potty on Instagram. Like, they didn't see our private text. I hope they didn't.
No, I didn't.
and it was so cool. Because Squatty Potty is something that I fantasize about for a long time, about owning. I had been using a nursing stool and then her step stool for her to wash her hands and brush her teeth when I used the bathroom. And Squatty Potty has actually invented or created this beautiful, this is their new model. They have like a different white model that's a little bit more bathroom looking. This is designer Squatty Potty. So they followed me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was just talking about this with my friend Everydaydetox. Okay, before anyone gets mad at me, this is how it works. When you have a lot of followers on the internet and you say you like a product, they send it to you for free. So full disclosure, this came for free because I asked them for it. So Squatty Potty sent us 2 Squatty Potties. I'm so excited. And I'm really excited. I'm like really jacked up over this. And I thought it was a perfect opportunity to talk more about proper pooping methods, proper pooping technique, in addition to the dietary things that we have to do to make sure that our system is running well. So let's riff on it.
You're the only person I'm going to do this for.
Oh,
because
come on.
People ask me
you love talking about poop.
I do not. People ask me over the years all the time, could you write a blog about poop and the size and the shape and the smell? And I'm like, nope.
Okay, we don't have to do like the whole size, shape, smell. There's an app for that, actually.
You know why I did?
It's called the Poop app.
Look, I've worked in detox work. Primarily, it has to do with elimination. It has to do with, and I've been a colonic therapist for 12 years. And I did an interview for somebody a long time ago. Do you remember when like the teleseminars were a big thing? I did like a recorded telephone thing.
No, they're still huge.
They're still doing that?
Telesummits are huge.
Well, I did one of those for somebody, and she put, when she created the blog post, there's a picture of a roll of toilet paper, and that was the first image that came up when you Googled my name, and I was like, no more poop stuff. I'm not going to be the poop guru, but somehow I am the poop guru.
It's like your job.
There's a lot more to the work.
There's a lot, but something that listen, if we really want to talk to the masses, we have to identify with them on a base level, okay? And something that we do every single day that is so important to our health and such an indicator of good health is poop.
It is.
And we should be doing it every day.
You know, that's why I became a colonic therapist, because I was working with doing nutritional work and working as a chef, and that was important. But it was Gil Jacobs who taught me that health has more to do with elimination than it does what you're actually putting in. And I was
let's talk about it.
We're going to talk about
Let's not be so, high on our horses.
So what are we talking about here? We're talking about...
But first, why can't... And this is the problem with these questions that we get, because we really don't know what you're doing in your day every day. We don't know your diet. We don't know your habits. So it's hard to say why you can't poop specifically. But the easiest way to go poop every day... And then I want to get into this. I really want to talk about, well, not this specifically, but more like, why we're not pooping well.
Oh,
so
you
what
want
can
me
we
to
do
take
every
that?
day? Yeah.
Well, there's so many different variables.
Oh,
but
where do I go with that?
Number one is hydration. Okay, so you have to be hydrated, because the first place your body's going to pull water out to bring it into the organs if you're dehydrated is going to be whatever's remaining in your intestines. So it's going to pull things out, and then things are going to start to get hard. And even if you're eating raw foods and salads and stuff, you can get constipated. Okay.
So quickly though, on hydration, what do you think about the formula of taking half of the number of pounds? So I'm 150 pounds, and then I take 75. Should I be drinking 75 ounces a day? Like, what do you think about that formula?
It's kind of cool because we like guidelines, but really it depends. Like I always tell people, I'm like, well, are you athletic? Do you run in Miami or do you run in Vermont? And like how much are you sweating? How much are you moving? What are your demands for water? And what else are you eating? Because if someone's just eating, like, let's take like people that do like an 80-10-10 kind of thing, right? And they do all this fruit and stuff like that. They're probably going to need less water. They still need water, but they're going to need so much less water than a coffee drinker, meat and potatoes person, cereal eater, or someone that's eating foods that suck water out of the body to begin with. Okay. So I drink very little water on a day where the first half of my day is just like raw juices and, and fruit. I mean, I don't need to drink tons and tons of water. Right. But when I used to eat like Egg McMuffins and stuff like that, like, oh God, I'd be like guzzling water by noon because I'd be all dehydrated.
And if you were eating Egg McMuffins, that could be a problem with your poop.
Yeah, so that's the other part. So it's hydration, and then, of course, it's what kind of food are you eating. So we need high-fiber food, and we need raw fiber food, too.
Okay.
So
raw fiber food, not Fiber One bars.
Yeah, well,
we can say that here.
Here's the interesting thing, too, though. I mean, Cheerios makes people go to the bathroom, and it lowers cholesterol because it has a lot of fiber that'll absorb excess cholesterol out of the body. Okay. So that stuff works. I mean, you could take powdered fibers, but I don't think that it's as good. I just think it gets bulky and stuff like that. There's a whole other holistic thing that happens with food. So eating apples, some of the greatest foods, the broom salads and the broom smoothies are phenomenal. So the broom salads are basically, and you don't have to follow a formula for this.
And broom meaning it's sweeping things out of your system.
It's sweeping things out of the system, yeah. Grated carrots, cabbage, grated carrots, cabbage, celery, fennel, radishes, things like that. They really help to sweep things out. We're like, sprouts and baby lettuces are all nutritious and great, and baby spinach is fantastic, but it's not as powerful of an absorbent in a broom as those other foods.
So you're going to give me, not right now in this video, but you're going to give me a recipe for your broom juice. And
Smoothies.
Broom smoothie, even better, because then I'm actually going to make it. I think I've done it before. I think that's how you got me started on pineapple. Don't give it to me now. And I'm going to make a broom smoothie graphic for everyone. You can just click on the link below, and it's going to go to Pinterest, and you can share that on Pinterest.
No, for the podcast listeners, I'm going to give it right now.
No, you're not.
Pineapple, apple, celery, and fennel. Blend those up. There's an actual little recipe I have for it.
Okay.
And I throw some dates in there and some water and stuff like that. But those vegetables in particular are great at sweeping things through the body.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay. So, of course, it has to do with the quality of what you're eating. Now, there's other components to this. One is structural, and that's where this Squatty Potty thing comes in. We're actually designed to squat. We're not designed to sit on a toilet. When you sit on the toilet, the very bottom and the base of the colon, my fingers are so purple. The base of the colon, it kind of gets a little bit constricted and it closes shut. It's so much harder to go to the bathroom. Most people don't know anything else.
Right.
Okay. That's what all this reading a book in the toilet thing is about, and sitting there for a long time. And all these, when you watch like old Monty Python movies and stuff, they always have some guy like going, like, making all this noise in the bathroom. That's all a result of eating foods that are constipating and sitting on a toilet. When you squat, stuff drops out of your body and you're out of there.
Right.
You're not spending any time in the bathroom. You're not even going to be able to read an Instagram post and you're getting out of the bathroom.
That's where I meditate, Mike.
In the toilet.
Sometimes.
But that's actually squatting. These benches here, what they do is they help to bring your knees a little closer to your chest.
So in a lot of Asian countries, they're still squatting. They'll just have a hole in the floor.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, they make nice toilets in the floor. They're
Right,
not always, and they have little foot pads and you actually squat there and they have it right. That's exactly what you're supposed to do.
But here, for people who do not sit, okay. Can we talk? Can we get a little intimate?
You want to talk
here?
shop? Yeah, let's
okay,
get
so
into it.
you do something funny, which I don't even want you using the bathroom in my house.
The way you describe it, it's funny. I squat on the toilet.
You stand on the
I
toilet.
don't stand on your toilet. I'm not standing up.
Your feet are on the toilet seat.
Yes.
Yes. So you're actually climbing up on the toilet like a monkey and squatting into the hole. So for people who do not want to do that, risk life and limb and fall over and crack their head because they're balancing atop a slick surface, they could sit on the toilet and use the Squatty Potty, and that will raise the knees up and get you in better alignment for elimination.
Right. Some people can't squat on there, but I have to tell you, when you
people should not squat on
they
there.
should. You know what they had? Okay, this is what they have in
so weird.
In some of like the homes in India where they have like foreigners that visit and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They have a toilet and they have like wings on the side and they're foot pads, so you could actually squat or you can sit if you're like if you're more Western and you don't want to do that.
This is America.
Yeah, well, we should be squatting here.
We should be squatting. No, when I would have a colonic at your place, then I would go and I would actually stand on the toilet there to, finish out the colonic process. And it's fine. It's not terribly weird. I'd be willing to do it, but I don't think that most of the people watching this video on the Bexlife channel, not your podcast,
right,
will be okay with that.
Podcast listeners should be squatting. Talking about some advanced stuff.
Podcast listeners squat. Bexlife people, you can use the Squatty Potty or any kind of stool that raises your legs up.
Yeah, if you actually made it to this podcast and you're listening to the podcast, it means you're better than that, and it means that you're doing some next level shitting, and you need to.
You are a terrible person.
And you need to be squatting. It's been amazing for like the past 20 years of squatting, like what it's done to my hips and everything. It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Okay.
I stand when I come here. I just stand up and I just drop it in.
The act of squatting.
Sweet you are.
Interesting side. Oh, we have a dinosaur visiting us. Come on in. Squatting is actually the best exercise, better than Kegels, for women to do to help with incontinence or to prevent incontinence and strengthen the pelvic floor. And that's so interesting because the number 1 and 2 causes of women going into nursing homes are incontinence and not being able to get up and down, like get up and down from bed or get up and down from a seat, and squatting helps with that. So squatting is something that you should do as an exercise every single day. And you could start by doing it while you go to the bathroom.
You're right on the bed. Now this thing is great though. This is good, and this is a good start. This is good for people that can't squat for whatever reason. So this is cool. This is one of the better ones that I've actually seen. Like it looks cool. It looks
it's
good.
Pretty.
Yeah, it looks it looks like something from like a child's kindergarten room. You know how they have like these little wooden tables and chairs?
Yes, it does. It does.
So this is very cool. I've seen some horrible looking ones.
And it has a happy face.
Yeah.
We like that. It's a good crew though. I'm not getting paid to say any of this. I just got a Squatty Potty. So.
Yeah, and I didn't get any Squatty Potties.
You got,
so just
they
so you
sent
know,
us 2 Squatty Potties. One was for you.
Oh, one was for me?
Yeah, you can bring it home on the subway.
What do I need that for? I'm going to squat.
Because you stand on the toilet. That's okay. I can use an extra. I have a bunch of bathrooms. I'm really excited about the Squatty Potty because the people were so cool to work with. And that's always like an extra factor that I consider when I'm promoting something, especially if it's, if they're not paying me, frankly. Yeah. So they were nice. So I like them. It was a fun crew. They have a good sense of humor over there at the Squatty Potty.
No.
Headquarters.
Another thing on the squatting thing is that this is one of the things to get people to go to the bathroom. So the reason I even got introduced to colonic work is because I was in a relationship with someone that was having a hard time with constipation. Surprise, a woman with constipation problems, right? So she was having a hard time. She started going for colonics. And one of the things that, and Gil Jacobs was her colonic therapist, and that's where I met him. One of his recommendations is he was like, squat on the toilet every day, even if you don't have to go. You want to go in the morning, hang out there, read a book, do whatever. And over 15, 20 minutes, eventually her body would kick in and it would go, oh, it's time, because everything was in place. And then she would start going to the bathroom. She did that every day and then things started to kick in. Plus she did a lot of colonic work and diet changes and stuff like that. But sitting and squatting is a great way to start signaling your body to go to the bathroom.
So it's about hydration. Number 1, hydrate. Number 2, eat foods that are that lend themselves to proper elimination, high fiber foods, raw fiber foods. And then number 3, do not eat foods that are going to stop up the work. So meat, dairy,
fiberless foods, highly processed starches, things that are just like cement in the intestine.
Right. And then number 4, technique, squat.
That's it.
Squat or pretend squat.
Now, the other little side of that is there are emotional factors that get involved. I've known people that can only go to the bathroom on the colonic table. And their bowels are working perfectly because once we stimulate it with the water, everything works. But for some reason, when they're out in the world, they're having a hard time. And sometimes it's like an emotional thing that people have to work through.
Also, environmental factors, like say you're dating someone and you are, out with them or in their apartment, you may or may not be able to poop because because they're around.
Nobody poops in new relationships.
No, give it at least 6 months.
They just fart in the stairwell all the way home when they leave the apartment. But
my older sister just celebrated her 27th wedding anniversary, and she has never pooped when her husband was home.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is she okay?
They're still together. 27 years. So we can let's move on to the next topic.
Okay, so what's up next?
Well, we just finished talking about poop, and I think that this is going to be in relationship to that. It's another detox question, which you're so great with. I've gotten more than several emails and comments about people going through the process of detox, or they've been clean eating for a long time and they're still not seeing the results that they want. They're breaking out. They're having all kinds of terrible side effects. I got ahead of myself. I say side effects, but they're saying I'm clean eating and it's not working. So that's the message. And so I'm saying these are side effects, and you hopefully can shed some more light on that for them.
Yeah, these are effects. Okay. I should have brought this up in the a little bit more in the process about pooping too, because pooping is detoxing, right?
Okay. We'll do it now.
You can, if someone's having trouble going to the bathroom, you can totally strengthen your intestine, because getting a colonic is like going to the gym. It's going to the gym for the bowel. So you can, through the repetition of colonics, you can strengthen your intestine.
Really? Because I would think that it would weaken it because you're not participating in.
You are. Everybody thinks that like it's somehow the colonic does the job for you. The colonic is just making your body work when it normally wouldn't work.
Okay,
so you're getting stronger and stronger. So you can actually tone your bowel and get yourself to go to the bathroom more frequently with increased frequency of colonics. And that's why I had said that person that I was with that had constipation problems, she was squatting, she was eating better, but she was doing colonics twice a week for a long time to correct a problem and I think she did colonics twice a week for like 6 months or something like that, which people are like, oh my God, that's a lot. But she was constipated for 30 years of her life. So it was like, and then she doesn't do that many colonics now, but she totally and that expedited her cleansing process. But it was great. It was a very therapeutic response to doing a lot of colonics. There's a lot of myths about colonics.
And did she get acne? What are we talking about here?
Well, she did not get acne, but here's what happens. Our bodies are either expanding to accommodate poisons and wastes, or it's contracting to release poisons and waste. Okay? Most people what happens is their body's constantly expanding to accommodate waste.
What does that mean, expanding
so that means
to accommodate? Like, are they getting fatter?
They could either be getting fatter, or the cells can just be swelling with a certain amount of pressure from putrefactive and fermentative gases from all the different poisonous processed foods or foods that are taking too long to leave the intestines.
Okay.
There's certain residues to certain degrees, depending on everybody's body, which is different in the strength of their detoxification organs and their age and things like that. There's a certain level of accommodation that's happening all the time. Great ways to think about it. We know about like mercury in fish, right? So it's like things that the body is not meant to ever see in nature, it has a hard time releasing.
Okay.
Bacon double cheeseburger has a hard time releasing from the intestine. Double fudge sundae with no fiber and dairy and sugar and everything has a very hard time releasing from the intestine. Heavy metals that we've sort of released into the air and water from industry has a very hard time getting released from living tissue.
Okay.
Just like mercury in fish. LSD in the spine, right? You ever hear about acid flashbacks?
I've never heard about acid.
You don't know anything about drugs, right? Well, anyway, acid flashbacks. People suddenly, they dropped a lot of acid in the 60s, and they're driving their car one day and they're like, 60 years old, and boom, they like have an acid flashback.
Okay.
It's a drug residue stored in the spine. So our body can store all sorts of toxicity. It's waiting for the moment to go deep and try to release it at all times. And that could be excess weight. That could just be a little bit of like, I ate too many potatoes and I'm like, not that potatoes make you fat, but I'm just saying, too many like meat and potatoes or something, or too many French fries. Or it can be something very serious, like I smoked crystal meth for a number of years, and like you have toxic drug residues in your body. If you smoke cigarettes, you have if you've ever seen smokers' lungs. I remember when Oprah showed, this is very interesting on Oprah. This is when Dr. Oz.
Oprah has made so many appearances in our podcast. You love talking about her.
I do. I love Oprah. I love Tony Robbins, and I love Morrissey. Very strange group of people. Okay, so. Dr. Oz, I think it was Dr. Oz. He came on and he was showing, or some surgeon or somebody was showing.
He does that.
He was showing all these different organs, and they showed a healthy lung from someone that probably had a tragic end in an accident or something, and it was very pink and pure, and it looked great. Then they had a smoker's lung, and it was just wrecked. And then they had this other lung. The smoker's lung was like black. It had streaks of like all this stuff, and that's residue from combustion from smoking. And then they had this other lung that was like healthy, but it had like these just a few little black streaks and little black spots. And Oprah said, "Well, what's up with this lung? Why does this one? This one's like not really perfect, but it's got like a little bit of smudge on it." And he said, "Oh, this person didn't smoke cigarettes, but they lived in a city." And I was just like, "Oh, but so that's collecting toxicity." So we have a friend, a close friend of ours, who's a musician, and he quit smoking, I think, about a year ago.
Dennis.
Yes, Dennis. Dennis Callow and The Change, who I play on here all the time, and they're not playing shows anymore. I don't believe it. I call bullshit.
He'll be back.
But they, so he quit smoking, and he's been having a lot of like bronchial stuff and chest issues.
It's coming out.
It's coming out of him. Mm-hmm. So
that's good.
If he started smoking again, that would probably stop.
Right. But he could easily mistake all of this stuff happening as him being sick.
Right.
As a bad symptom.
Yeah, he's smarter than that. We talk about this.
Right,
That's what the average person does.
Right. So that brings us back to the question, or the concern that I hear repeated again and again. Is that I'm having all of these symptoms. Why isn't the clean eating working? But it is working. That's the sign that it is working.
Here's a great quote from Dr. Fred Bishey on this. When he was talking about people taking medicine for illness, he said, "But a lot of the time, what people are trying to do is they're trying to cure the cure." He's like, "You don't want to try to cure the cure," and this is people being afraid to not feel well. Mm-hmm. And they go, okay, like they stop smoking, they're trying to get healthy, and all of a sudden they're coughing up all these gross things and yellow stuff and streaks of blood, and they're like, oh, I don't know what's going on. Let me take medicine and stop that symptom. Mm-hmm. And it's like, now, if somebody has a bacterial infection or something in their lungs, they should, so don't get any wrong ideas. This is not meant for any individual. People get
this is for general educational purposes only and does not replace the advice of your doctor or healthcare practitioner.
I'm telling a story here. I don't know if it's true or not true. I'm not saying.
Legal.
Yeah. So what a lot of people try to do is when their body engages in that system of deep release, hello there. when their body engages in that like system of deep release, they immediately want to shut that down because it's an unpleasant thing, and they get scared or they don't want to feel those feelings. But that's actually the healing process.
Yeah.
It's their body purging things. And yes, bacteria show up sometimes because we have all this in the lung or wherever it is. And when our immune systems start to crash because of exhaustion or being toxic, or the body flooding the blood with a lot of stored up toxicity, and when we have accumulations of different wastes in the tissue, then bacteria show up and they do their job in nature and they start to break things down. So yes, sometimes medicines and antibiotics, of course, can save us, because if we have a big bacteria proliferation happening, we might need to do that to kind of slow the process down and to get us into a good space. Yeah. But I haven't taken a medication for probably since I was 18 years old. And I've had a lot of detoxes and illnesses through all of that time, and I got stronger every time.
I mean, I liken every single thing to pregnancy and childbirth because that's the space that I'm in right now. And I hear you saying, like these symptoms are not indications of something being wrong. It's like what we were talking about in the last set of podcast videos, pain not being the same as suffering. And we really need to know the difference about things that are in service of our healing, and how sometimes those things are uncomfortable and sometimes processes are important to go through, like childbirth. Childbirth is painful, but it's not necessarily suffering. And knowing the difference can mean the world to the outcome and how you, and your perspective after that. And then also with pregnancy, it's like people have to be patient. It takes a long time to grow that baby, and your body goes through a lot of changes, and it's going to take a long time to get it back to where it was before, or to a place that, similar to where you were before. So if you have been treating yourself poorly and putting toxins into your body for 20, 25, 30, 50 years, it's going to take a little while to work itself out. You're not going to do a 7-day juice cleanse or a 21-day clean eating cleanse and everything's going to be all fixed up. It is a long process, which is okay. I mean, you'll feel a little bit better all the time. You're going to have some symptoms, but it's not going to be like suffering, awesome. It's a process to go through, and it's important to be patient and to be very aware of what you're going through and check in a lot.
The body loves consistency. Mm-hmm. It doesn't like the stock graph dieting. It doesn't like, I went away with my friends over the summer and we just drank and ate all the shitty food. Now I don't feel good. Now I'm going to do a juice cleanse. And then you do a juice cleanse and you're really clean. What Gil Jacobs calls a penthouse to the outhouse mentality. Yeah. You don't want to go up and down like that.
And your body likes consistency. Like if it's getting like crappy food, it's going to want that crappy food. And that's what the cravings are about. Like it wants what it's been having. So if you start introducing even things that are really good for you, it's going to reject it a little bit. So you can put stuff, it's not going to feel right away, even if the stuff is good for you. So you could be, if you're eating hamburgers all day and then every single day, and then all of a sudden you're switching over to raw fruits and vegetables, even though that's really great food, it's not going to be like you're in bliss all the time thinking this is like the best thing ever. You're still going to be craving those hamburgers that you were eating before. And that's okay too. It doesn't mean you needed the hamburger. It just means that that's what you were used to.
You know what's interesting? Once you really consistently leave that food out, the cravings for it go away.
Absolutely.
I love pizza. I don't crave it ever.
We had pizza last night and you didn't have a bite.
No, I didn't want any of that. I had a salad.
I had a salad
I would never sign myself up for a life of struggle and food cravings. I just feel like, oh, screw it, I can't do this thing. But when you consistently do it, the cravings go away. You just brought up an interesting point about, when people... This is how we can tell. When a client walks in, we can tell how toxic they really are based on when we start to set them up on an eating program. The people that can't just have a morning of water and fruit and raw juice, people that need the bacon and eggs or the coffee or the whatever, otherwise they get headaches and feel sick, you can see how much toxicity they have built up in their body. Yeah. Because those foods will shut the process down. It's like the hair of the dog thing. You have a massive hangover and you have a Bloody Mary or you drink a beer or something and it takes the edge off. It's because it stops the process of detoxification till later. And usually what happens with people that have had a late night out and they have a beer in the morning or whatever, they shut that process of detoxification off, and then their body will probably handle it at night when they sleep the following night. But what happens is reintroducing poisons makes people feel better. Removing poisons, and that could be heavy breakfast and pancake, chocolate chip bacon pancakes or whatever, you put that stuff in the morning, you feel better because it's shutting down the unfinished work of the night before of the detoxification process.
And I love your heroin analogy, and this is how I want to end this segment. Heroin is a poison, is a toxin, just like a hamburger. And when you go off of it...
That's a controversial statement. People don't like to hear that. It's true.
Whatever. When you go off of it, it's painful, and your body will do anything it can to tell you that you should not be removing heroin from your system. Mm-hmm. So you're gonna be vomiting, you're gonna be sweating. It's gonna hurt, like it hurts in every part of your body, in your bones, and your muscles. I'll keep her. Yeah, you're still being a good girl. But that doesn't mean that heroin's good for you, and you need to reintroduce it into your system. You need to get through that detox. That is so important. So food in a less dramatic way, when you detox from these toxic foods, it's going to be similar but less dramatic. But it's the same thing. It's your body like fighting you, taking something away that it thinks that it needs, but it doesn't. Okay, so wrapping up the symptoms, they might be good for you.
It might be good for you, but here's the thing. Let's not wrap it up quickly. I know I'm making a video.
Every time I say I'm going to wrap this up.
Because, well, it's a big topic. I mean, think about who you asked here.
Okay.
This is very important because this is the foundation of what I've been doing for a living. When I first got into colonic therapy and detoxification work, the raw food thing was new, like very new.
Yeah.
Like David Wolfe had just written the Sun Food Diet Success System, which was like one of the first big books to popularize raw foods, and he made it like very cool. And a lot of people were going hardcore into raw food, and they were getting massive symptoms, headaches, skin problems, fevers, and all sorts of things that come with detoxification. What happens is the body goes very quickly. So there's a little bit of the body's a very wise organism, except it gets a little dumb in certain respects. And one of those respects is that it will start to purge poison out of the cells and organs, not understanding that the organs of elimination cannot keep up with it. Is she not hungry?
She's just,
She's adorable. Okay, so what was I saying? So all of these symptoms are coming up because people were getting very excited by raw foods, doing major lifestyle transformations, fasting, doing all sorts of things that allow toxicity to very rapidly release from the tissue. And the body's wisdom gets a little dumb at certain points. So the body will start to release wastes into the bloodstream, not understanding that it can't, the organs of elimination can't keep up with what's happening.
Okay.
Gil used to use this great analogy of, remember I Love Lucy, the show, and remember when her and Ethel were working on the candy factory line, and like the candy bars were coming so fast, so like they were eating them and stuffing them in their pockets.
I think this is where we're going to address acne specifically, though.
Yeah.
Like this long into the video.
Okay. Yeah. Well, here's
no, because I can hear it coming up though. Okay.
Well, here's the thing. This is what the foundation of colonic therapy work is. Infrared saunas are, even massages, Epsom salt baths. You want to open the channels of elimination. The colon being the primary thing. So the one thing that's very cheap and easy we have control over is just make sure you're hydrated. Your kidneys will kick in. You'll just keep urinating, and you'll be filtering the blood all the time. Right. Sleep and water are fantastic. A lot of solid waste, including metabolic waste, will release into the intestines. So when people start to eat high fiber diets, sometimes they get constipated. It'll be like, oh, I've been eating all this raw food and feeling great, and I feel, I'm just looking in the toilet and I see like green fluffy poop and fruit and stuff that I ate, and I can almost make out what it was, and it doesn't smell anymore. Then all of a sudden they have start to get a fever, they have a headache, and they have a big stinky poop, and it lines the toilet bowl like black peanut butter, and they're like, I don't eat black peanut butter. What's that? That stuff. They're like, that stuff releasing from the deep tissue. What helps with that and rapidly releases that is colonics, enemas, and being hydrated. Yeah.
And if you can't eliminate, that's what we're talking about. If it's not coming out in the poop, then it can manifest as acne. You're pushing out toxins
through your skin.
Yeah.
Sometimes the body just has a mind of its own, and even when people do lots of colonics, the skin stuff still happens. I would say 85 to 90% of the people, though, once you really address elimination, you start going to the bathroom a lot, or if you're getting colonics or enemas and you're in the middle of an intense detox, the skin stuff will clear up like that. Yeah. The skin is a mirror for what's going on in the gut.
But don't be surprised if your skin clears up immediately. Like it starts looking really, really good in the beginning, and then as you get deeper, you're further along on your journey, then that starts coming up, like other symptoms. So it's not that the clean eating isn't working. It's that it's just you're going to a next level.
Right. And sometimes you have a drop in energy. Vegans have this all the time. They people that eat meat, they go, oh, I saw this movie and now I'm going to like be a vegan. And they eat it and they get a drop in energy. Oh, I don't feel good. I'm tired all the time. I get sick more now. I guess I needed protein. So they eat a steak. They feel amazing because they shut the detox process off and they go, must have needed protein. Vegan diets are deficient in protein. Then they make a YouTube video. This is why vegan diet failed me and some other, clickbait bullshit. And, they don't understand the process that they need to go through. And it's a long-term commitment.
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to feel terrible long-term, but you have to remember that these are just little things that happen. Right. You stick to it. You stay consistent. You come out on the other side. You feel amazing. I was sick all the time when I first started. 104 fevers sometimes and stuff. I wouldn't take any medicine. I was such a purist, at the time. 104 fevers, skin issues, all sorts of problems. Fatigue, that all changed. And I eat less now than I do then.
And your symptoms are also going to depend on the level of intensity of the detox. So if you're doing a very, very slow and steady, then the symptoms are going to be far less dramatic than if you're cutting everything out.
Very good point.
At once.
Yeah. Sometimes we have people come in, clients will come in and they go, oh, I read this book and now I want to do a raw food diet or I want to do a fast, and they attempt something like that. Their body can't keep up with the changes and they start to get very sick. And we say, okay, no. Why don't you eat, Tom DeVito, he's a colonic therapist. He'll have people eat like French fries and stuff like that. He'll be like, I want you to take your favorite
I like Tom
food.
DeVito.
Well, what happens, the person's still eating, 90% vegan for the day and then they're having French fries. And
sounds good.
It slows it down.
Okay.
Pat the plumber was I'm making you videos so long. I'm telling stories. Pat the plumber was great. He was 500.
I know Pat the plumber.
Oh, you do know Pat the plumber.
Yeah, and he was eating the wings and stuff.
Yes, he was over 500 pounds. And his detox program, we got him down. I think he started with us. He was 465, and we got him down to like 385. And we did that in a few weeks. And his diet was basically raw juice all day. Then he would have huge salads and steamed vegetables. He bought some store-bought thing from like Pathmark, like salad dressing that wasn't great. It wasn't raw. It wasn't anything. And he put that all over it. And then he would eat fried chicken wings. And he still, what is that, 60? That's like 85 pounds or something that he lost. Yeah. So sometimes you need a little bit of poisonous food to slow the process down so you don't get...
keep your body from going into complete shock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
okay. Sounds good. Fried chicken.
Baby stepping it is one way too. That video is so long. I'm sorry.
You know what? I love all of it. All of it's really super important. But let's move on to some podcasty stuff.
So one of the questions that I remember that came in on my side, even though I forgot my list, was someone had asked questions about the Master Cleanse and what I thought about Master Cleanse. Did that come in on your side?
Because I feel like I got that question too.
Maybe from the same person. But yeah, somebody left a message on an Instagram post.
Oh, okay.
And the Master Cleanse, the whole secret to fasting is what you're not doing. So a lot of people say, what's the best juice cleanse? Or should I do the Master Cleanse or should I do a juice cleanse? And, the way fasting works is there's water fasting, which is kind of like...
Can we talk about what the Master Cleanse is for a second for people unfamiliar?
Master Cleanse is basically consuming only, there's a little bit more to it, but the main component of the Master Cleanse is the thing that you are consuming is basically a spicy lemonade. It's cayenne pepper, maple syrup, lemon juice, and water. And those are your drinks throughout the day.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah, there's a little bit of something to it. You know what I mean? The cayenne pepper increases circulation. The acids from lemon or apple cider vinegar or lime or grapefruit, any of those like citrus acids, they can help to break up different wastes along the intestinal tract. The water is hydrating. If you put a pinch of salt in there, you could balance out your electrolytes a little bit. So there's a little something to that.
What if I replace the maple syrup with, say, 2 tablespoons of honey?
That would work just great. Maple syrup doesn't have to be there. It could be honey just right too.
Because I have a small honey.
Raw honey might even actually be more.
Addiction.
Raw honey may actually be even therapeutic to some degree. So, but the trick with all of that, it's not like one is better than the other. I actually think one is better than the other. I think juice fasting is better than everything, and there's a reason for that. But
the Master Cleanse feels like, whatever. I don't like to starve, and it feels like I'd be starving. That's what I mean. I understand that you're eliminating things, but does it have to be that extreme? That's why I like the idea of a juice fast, because you are still getting...
It's all about what you're not doing. So there's no one juice cleanse that's better. You could juice dandelion, has a therapeutic effect on the liver. You could juice certain things that could, have a little something cool happening in your body that's good to do. Drink apple cider vinegar. It's very good at breaking up waste in the intestines or citric acids or things like that. that's a good thing. But in general, the deep cleansing happens from not eating. So if you're having lemonades all day, or if you're having carrot juices all day, the thing is you're not eating all day, and that's why your body's going deep.
I'd say if you're generally free from disease, if we're not talking about someone with a serious illness who needs, immediate and emergency treatment, I don't see what the huge appeal of all these juice cleanses are anyway, or just this cleanse thing anyway. Just slowly eat better foods and become cleaner and less toxic, slowly and comfortably, and forget all this other stuff. Yeah. Juice every day if you want to, but it's like this idea of the cleansing. I mean, I get that we can have a lot of commentary about cleanses and like which is better and all the different levels and all of that, but why not just start eating better instead of obsessing over the idea of cleanses? Like, let's bring it back just one stage. I'm over it.
You reminded me of something. Like Dr. Bishop would always say, fasting is not something you do in a crisis because now all of a sudden you're really toxic or you need to make a sudden change. He's like, fasting is something you do to go next level when you're already feeling good. So if you're someone that's dedicated to a life of cleansing and being really healthy and you want to go next level,
okay,
that's when you would do something like that. That's why
I would do it.
I'm
talking about when people, come to you or, whoever and say they're really sick. Like they might have like really bad stuff going on in their bodies and they need to do something that's a little bit more intense than a slow and steady salad, clean eating transition. So that's what I was saying there. But yeah, you can go next level with a cleanse. I'm talking about these regular everyday people who are eating standard diets or, even like better than normal diets. And then they're obsessed with the idea of cleansing. It's like the biggest question that we get. And I know that your name is Everydaydetox, so you love these people. But it's a lot. I think that they're missing the point a little bit. I think that the general public is missing the point of a cleanse and what it's really doing for you and what your expectations should be and how much weight you should be putting on it against your long-term health.
Yeah. Well, it is a very misunderstood thing. Yeah. And I think a lot of people like to put like things. I'm doing the master cleanse. I'm doing a juice cleanse. I'm doing this diet. Well, they want it to look like something and have a structure around it when really it's
there are benefits to that structure because it keeps you on track. It allows you to check in and make sure that just check in with yourself and make sure that you're doing the things that you've committed to do. But for the rest of your life, you should avoid trying to get attached to the things. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fasting is there's a reason why fasting and prayer are mentioned to be done together in the Bible so many times. Fasting, like long-term fasting too, juice fasting, and for certain people, water fasting, is a highly spiritual activity. Eating clean is a highly spiritual activity. I changed my entire orientation to life and the world and other people changed when I went on a vegan diet. Mm-hmm. It was amazing. My whole mind opened up. And I was young too. I was like 19 years old when all this started. And I was like, my mind was going places and my heart opened up in ways that, in terms of compassion and ways I wanted to show up in the world. And that was just from cleaning myself physically. Yeah. It was amazing.
I can't speak to being vegan because I'm not, and I never have been. But the number one reason why I removed caffeine from my diet, and I talked about a lot of different things, like I was having trouble sleeping, and it was having like highs and lows during the day. But it was really interrupting the way, it was interrupting my thought flow. It was messing with my emotional patterns. There was a lot of stuff going on that when I removed caffeine, which sounds silly to some people, but I became my channels of creativity opened up in a very different way. It wasn't a fake way. Like when I was having that fake stimulation and I was able to, do a lot of work, but now I'm able to think clearly and actually do things that
Is it like the difference between frantic thought and creative and open thought?
Yes.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Maybe if I had a little caffeine, I would have been able to finish that sentence. No, but really, I mean, it changed everything. It changed my meditation practice. It changed how I react in situations. And there's probably been in the past 2 years a handful of times when I've reintroduced caffeine for whatever reason. Like I had to, I had a job that was really early. I needed to stay awake late, and it was catastrophic. So I saw exactly how I was reacting to that. So I challenge anyone who's on caffeine who thinks they're not addicted or it's not affecting them to go off for a while, and then reintroduce it just a little bit, and it's pretty dramatic. So.
You know, you realize what that says about human potential? Like, try to think of all the early indigenous peoples that understood things about the planets and the earth and cycles. They were obviously much more observant because they didn't grow up with televisions and internets and phones and all this stuff.
There was more time to contemplate the stars.
Yeah, contemplate and be connected. And they walked around barefoot, connecting to the earth, but their bodies were so much cleaner. Even if they were smoking tobacco or doing something, you know, like humans always mess around with a little something, but even if they were messing around with natural poisons, their bodies were so much cleaner, and they probably thought so much more clearly. That's why that's why I think you don't have people writing biblical scriptures today. Like, a lot of that stuff came about in a time when people were much cleaner.
V equals P minus O.
What?
Sonic boom. No, but I mean, that's what it is. It's that we have so many things obstructing not only our physical selves, you know, and also our creative process. So all this stuff, all this noise getting in the way. So it's toxins, and it's the physical stuff, and then it's, you know, drugs, and then it's just the noise of our everyday world that's getting in the way of our flow, and we're not able to process things.
You just brought up the one thing that we forgot. We both forgot.
I didn't forget anything.
Okay, what was the number one thing we wanted to talk about that you're basically led us into just now?
Poop?
No. That was not the top of the list. Spiritual detox. I asked you. I said, what are we doing? Oh, look at her.
She's so happy. She just grunts. She's just grunting the whole time. We wanted to talk about spiritual detox. There is absolutely no way we could talk about that today.
It's a huge topic. It's a very powerful. You know, the people at, Soul Camp, thank you for that connection, by the way.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
I got an email, and they're like, Bex, so we like you, so we'd love you to do Soul Camp. And I was like, okay, I'm in. I'll do whatever.
The Soul Camp is going to be an event not to be missed. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what this is. It's like a getaway camp for spiritual practices and things and openness and fun. And I looked at the website, but it was from 2014.
Yeah,
I think they're about to launch the new one.
I think they're about to launch the new one. I just want to make sure that we have it. You can.
What I'm looking to do is, I don't know what I haven't talked to them.
It's soul.camp.
Soul.camp?
Yeah, no .com, no not .net. It's soul.camp.
I didn't know they had camps. That's a good idea.
Yeah, it's amazing. Okay, so definitely go check that out. Soul.camp. We're both going to be speaking there with a bunch of other Bexlife guests.
Yeah. I'm hoping to do a little detox stuff, right? But that's kind of boring. Everybody talks about detox stuff. What I want to do this time around, and I'll talk to them and see if they're open to it, is I want to do a spiritual detox process. I want to create a mini intensive. Are you stealing
my thing? I want to do it.
You go ahead, but you're not. You're not going to do the stuff that we do at the opening intensive. It's a very different thing. How those fingers taste?
Awesome.
You know what she's doing right now? This is what babies do. They put their fingers in their mouth, and the reason we want to chew on our hands is intentional, because we want to touch the earth and expose ourselves to bacteria and strengthen ourselves.
Who's making that up?
I'm not making that up. But there's a reason why we teeth at that age with the teeth coming through and want to stick our fingers in our mouths, because we touch things. Do you ever see the movie Babies?
Yes.
Right? And you remember that African baby was like chewing on rocks and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying we should give our kids rocks, but what I'm saying is that child probably has a kick-ass immune system, really good probiotics in its intestines, and it's connected to the planet.
What I remember most about the African baby is when the baby pooped and the mother wiped the baby's hiney on her leg, and it just kept going.
Do you know they're healing bowel cancers and I think inflammatory bowel diseases too by inserting baby poop into people's intestines? Because the probiotic levels are so active and so high because babies have very clean bodies. They're not as polluted. So they're taking baby poop and they're introducing it that way. Instead of like trying to take some laboratory manufactured encapsulated thing and swallowing.
Couldn't we just take some of that sauerkraut that we made earlier and inject it into our heinies? And then we'll stand on our toilets or use the Squatty Potty?
You kind of could.
I'm bringing it all together.
You kind of could, but this is, I don't know the exact details behind it, but that's like some next level stuff. I'm going to see how many times I can say next level in the next 15 minutes.
I poop on your butthole.
So you want to skip the spiritual detox thing. Do we have another question that you want to get to?
No, I think that we covered it. The spiritual detox is going to be awesome though. Let's make that let's allow me to rid myself or de-child myself for a couple hours and then come up to Brooklyn and we'll like jam on spiritual detox.
Yeah, let's do that word.
Oh my
We'll
gosh.
do that. Yeah, maybe we can get Martin in on the conversation, or Stephen Garrett or something like that, because those guys are incredible teachers in that practice. I was blown away by that practice. For people that don't know what we are talking about, we're talking about.
Let's just keep it all like inside. So.
Well, I'm just gonna tell them who Martin is.
No, they're not allowed to know.
Martin Hahn is he was one of the facilitators at the Enlightened Warrior Training Camp. He did a program called Predicament, and he also led something called the Opening Intensive, where I had tremendous deep spiritual and life experiences, and we're going to talk about that next time. So let's let Annabelle steal the show as we get out of here. Guys, go to everydaydetox.org, sign up for the newsletter, and you will find out when these podcasts air. Please check out the book on fermentation, Why My Hands Are All Purple Today. Check out the video on fermentation that I don't know when it's going to come out, but when it does, I'll make sure it's in the description below. Thank you so much for having me out to the Bexlife farm today and having me over last night. And
our sleepover.
We had a good time.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
We'll do it again soon. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.